Hey guys, Mike M-LOK 556 here. Today we're going to look at 5 different accessories for M-LOK rails. We're going to be looking at 3 Magpul accessories and 2 accessories from impact weapons components. What brought me to do this video is when I bought this new Adams Arms small frame 308. It comes with a Magpul MOE handguard. I wanted to see if I could go ahead and mount a bipod. And I also wanted a sling point attachment in the front of the gun so I could have a 2-point sling for carrying this rifle over distances. Since this is the new Generation 2, there are a limited supply of handguards that'll fit these particular rifles. Samsung makes a free float handguard that Adams Arms puts on their higher end model of the same rifle, but I'm really not crazy about the style of that particular handguard. And Midwest Industries has just recently started making some Generation 2 handguards. They're free float, but the problem with those handguards is the shortest length they make is 12 inches. And with this particular gas block, a 12-inch handguard isn't going to work. So I had to look at what I could do with the Magpul MOE handguard that's on this rifle. One thing I'd like to point out is this is a Magpul MOE handguard, but it's a more recently manufactured handguard. And the newer handguards actually have the M-LOK compatible size slots. If you look up close, you can see the little mark that is the M-LOK trademark that lets you know that these slots are M-LOK compatible. The so-called legacy or the first generation of MOE handguards have different size slots, and I have one here to compare. This is a mid-length handguard, the same size, and you can see the difference in the slots. If you look up close, the slots on the sides and the bottom are smaller in the legacy. So one thing you can do if you're not sure is just look on the right side in the front and you'll see the little mark, which is not present on the legacy handguards if you're not sure about the size of the slots. But the slots are pretty obviously different. If you have new M-LOK accessories and you have the legacy Magpul MOE stock, Magpul does make an adapter kit. It's about $10 and it will allow you to use your new M-LOK accessories on your legacy Magpul MOE handguards. The 3 attachments we'll be looking at today from Magpul are a small polymer rail section that retails for about $10. Then the standard bipod type mount, which retails for a little over $20. And then a QD sling mount, which retails for $20. The 2 accessories from ICW we'll be looking at are their low profile QD sling mount, which is going to require that we put a 1/2 inch round hole in our handguard, but it is a much lower profile device. And then we'll be looking at their version 2 bipod mount. And interestingly, with this newer version of bipod mount, there are accommodations for both the legacy MOE stock and an M-LOK slot. And if you look closely at this particular mount, you'll see that there are 2 different thicknesses that you can work with depending on whether you have the legacy MOE stocks or whether you have any of the newer M-LOK handguards to work with. Now, one thing to note is all 3 of these Magpul devices are designed so that you can attach these to an M-LOK slot without removing the handguard. So you don't need to get inside the handguard to mount these. And both of these ICW devices, we're going to have to get inside the handguard. With this low profile QD mount, we're going to have to actually drill a hole that's a 1/2 inch in diameter. And with their bipod mount, once again, you can see where there's a thicker and a thinner side. And this is designed so that, for instance, if we have, this is our legacy Magpul MOE, and the slots are narrower and rounded, but this is designed so that you can actually use the narrower side and go ahead and put this in the slot. Now, with this device, you are going to have the handguards off so you can get inside the handguard. But you can use it for the legacy And if you have an M-LOK handguard like this handguard, you can simply turn it over and put the wider part of the device in and use it that way. So this is a really good design that's very versatile, and you don't have to have any kind of adapter kit to use this if you have the older style handguard. Now in our situation with this particular rifle, initially what I'm going to do, rather than install either one of these bipod mounts, is we're going to use the small rail section. And the reason for that is the particular bipod that I'm interested in mounting on this rifle is a polymer lightweight B&T bipod, and it has a quick detach lever. So if I have a small rail section, I can attach this or detach it real rapidly. So I think initially for the bipod, I'm going to use a small rail section in this forward slot. So let's go ahead and take this handguard off and put in our low profile QD sling mount. I've marked the area where I want to install this mount. We'll use a center punch to mark the spot, a small drill, and then we'll use our 1/2 inch drill. We'll remove the handguard. I'm just going to take a center punch now and make a mark where I want this to go. Then we'll use a very small drill, make a small hole, and then we'll use our 1/2 inch drill. I have my 1/2 inch hole now. This is going on the inside, and what you have to do is go ahead and put the set screws in. You can either use the shorter or the longer. This is fairly thin material, so I think I'm going to go ahead and use the longer set screws. Just get them started. You don't want them protruding yet. Then we'll put our mount in the slot from the inside. Okay, we have the top ring. There's rings cut in the side of this mount. And so we're now going to put our little lock ring on the mount and get it down in that top slot. Now I'm not sure if I can show this, but this is a spiral ring. And you have to separate out the metal and then get the end that you've separated out started in the groove, and then just kind of push the spiral all the way around. Okay, so the first step is going to be just to split this ring. You can see now that I've got that first end exposed. Then once we've got the end exposed, we'll start that end in the groove on the mount and then just work our way around. So I've got that started, and I'm just going around. Once you get the end in the groove, and you've got to just go around now and push the ring down, and hopefully it'll finally snap in place. Whew. Okay, I had to tell you that took about 5 minutes of fiddling. We're just going to snug the set screws down on both sides evenly. Okay, now they're nice and snug. Now one question I have is just making sure we have adequate clearance. It is touching the metal plate, but I think it's going to be fine as far as the barrel clearance. We'll see when we install it. Locks in place fine. It has anti-rotation function, so that seems to function fine, and it's very low profile. Now for our Magpul installation for a sling point attachment, the handguards can be in place. So we're going to go ahead and install the handguards to look at the rest of the devices. Once again, the bipod mount from ICW would go in this slot, and we would need to be inside the handguard to tighten down the plate. But for right now, I'm not going to install that, but you would have to get inside to hold this plate that acts like a locking nut. Okay, the handguards did go back on. It all fits fine. The delta ring snapped in place and everything looks good. And I have to say, that's a very nice looking QD mount. Very low profile, just not in the way at all. It was a bit of an installation job. I'd say the total time's probably about 25 minutes, 20 or 25 minutes. So now let's put our other QD sling mount forward. So we'll have two options, close to the receiver or close to the gas block. Now for the Magpul QD sling mount, this is designed specifically for these M-LOK slots. It's going to fit snugly just like that. And you can see the difference as far as the low profile versus this. Now it is shaped very nicely. We'll see how it feels once we get out and handle this gun in the field. But it obviously isn't as sleek and low profile. Now, one advantage is these M-LOK nuts are designed to install very quickly and easily without removing the handguard. So to install this, what we want to do is go ahead and put the screws in place and then start the nuts so that there's room for the flange to catch on the inside, but you want that little special locking piece of the nut to be able to catch in the side of the slot. So we got both of the nuts started. You have to make sure that they're going to catch. And if they don't, we can take them out and screw them in a little bit more. I'm going to start by having them just a little shy of being flush. So we just drop the nuts, we'll line them up along the axis, drop them in the slot like that. And then we just have to tighten this down. It's got to catch. Actually, I think what we can do is pull it up a little bit and catch it. Yeah, that worked fine. So we didn't even have to readjust. All I did was just pull the whole device up so that that inside M-LOK part of the nut could catch. And then once it catches, it locks in place and we just snug it down. So now let's just talk about the difference between these two sling mounts. The ICW was a little less expensive. It's very low profile, so it has a very nice appearance. But it took about 25 minutes, and it also takes drilling a hole in, or having a 1/2 inch hole in your handguard. The Magpul, on the other hand, took about 2 minutes to install. It isn't nearly as low profile. Now, one nice thing about this Magpul is I can try it in this position. If I didn't like it, it would be very quick and easy to move it back to this position. Now, that's about as far back as I could get, so I could not get the sling to mount real close to the upper receiver. So there are pros and cons to both of these. Right now, I have the option of mounting my 2-point sling in either one of these forward locations. Now for the Bipod, this is the Magpul device. It's made for the M-LOK slots, and it was going to go in right here. With this, we don't have to take the handguard off, and you can position it anywhere along these slots. So this is very quick and easy installation. It's not nearly as low profile. So with the M-LOK slots, this is going to go in just like this. And once again, you can see this is a lower profile. So there are advantages and disadvantages. I think they're both very good products. But in our case, for right now, since I want to use this B&T quick release bipod that attaches to a rail, we're going to put the Magpul small rail section on the forward position here. To mount the rail section, we'll use the same technique. You have the device, put in the screws, These do have a different size Allen head than the sling attachment. And then what we want to do is start the nuts. And with the nuts, they have this special locking side flange, and that's the side that we want facing the outside. And so we'll put these nuts on, just get them started. Once both nuts are started, we'll want to orient them so they'll drop right in the slot. And then we'll have to pull them up a little bit maybe just to make sure that that locking portion of the nut engages. So those nuts just drop right in now. And what we're going to do is let's just tighten it gently. And you can feel it engage. Okay, this is not engaging, so I'm going to pull it up just a little bit and let it engage a little bit. So it's very intuitive how this M-LOK locking nut works from Magpul. Very easy, very simple to use. So we've just gently snugged down this Magpul 3-slot rail section. Very quick and easy installation. And once again, we could move this wherever we wanted in any of these M-LOK slots. Now I've got two options for mounting a sling forward of the upper receiver. And I've also got this small rail section. This small rail section will be very easy to change and put up here, for example, if I wanted to put a flashlight mount up here. And I have the bipod mounts that I can put from two different companies now if I want to go with a standard bipod mount. I think both the products are very high quality. The low profile sling adapter was much more difficult to install and does require that you put a 1/2-inch hole in your handguard if you don't already have a hole there. But it's a very nice, very minimalistic adapter that certainly isn't going to get in the way and snag on anything when you're not using it. On the other hand, the advantages for the Magpul sling adapter is that it's very easy to install and it's very easy to change positions. Both companies make very good, high quality products. I hope you found the information interesting and useful. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. Please post any questions or comments and I'll try to respond to those in a timely fashion. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.